Good morning. My name is, oh, wait, what was that? Good morning. There we go. My name's Carla Williams, and welcome. Whether the Unitarian Church of Evanston is your spiritual home, or you are seeking comfort and connection in uncertain times, we are grateful you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and of existence. Together, let us remember our kinship with one another, and may we hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. There are many links of connection in the comments section of the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and to be added to our email newsletter list. A few announcements. For today's faith formation at 11:30, you will be invited to participate in one of the following activities: a storytelling workshop with our guest storyteller, Greg Tertullian, in room 3, an art project in room 5 with Will and Jonna Van Dyke to make masks for Reverend Eileen's installation on October 23rd, woohoo, or a drum circle here in the sanctuary or on the lawn with Steve Courtwright and Alicia Hempfling. Gather on the lawn following faith formation at 12:30 for kinship and connection. Speaking of Reverend Eileen's installation, it will be held Saturday, October 23rd at 3 p.m. You may choose to attend in person or via the YouTube live stream from our sanctuary. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Do. It's like I just need that sound to just kind of follow me around the world. Opening reading today is We Are of a Tribe by Alberto Rios, American writer and poet laureate of Arizona. We plant seeds in the ground and dreams in the sky, hoping that someday the roots of one will meet the upstretched limbs of the other. It has not happened yet. We share the sky, all of us, the whole world. Together, we are a tribe of eyes that look upward, even as we stand on uncertain ground. The earth beneath us moves quiet and wild, its boundaries shifting, its muscles wavering. The dream of sky is indifferent to all this, impervious to borders, fences, reservations. The sky is our common home, the place we all live. There we are in the world together. The dream of sky requires no passport. Blue will not be fenced. Blue will not be a crime. Look up. Stay a while. Let your breathing slow. Know that you always have a home here. Welcome to worship.
The Unitarian Church of Evanston sits on stolen lands, the traditional and current homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes, such as the Miami, Menominee, Ho-Chunk, Sauk, and Fox, have and continue to call this area home. We name these in honor and respect for the land, all the animals and plants that have lived on and through the land, and all people who have been and remain a part of the earth. Our shared faith calls us to name these as one small effort towards greater accountability, deeper relationship, and mutuality with our ancestors, living communities, and descendants. As members of the Rainbow Alliance, light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition. In honor of National Coming Out Day, please join in saying these words adapted from the Upanishads. We light this chalice to help us move from untruth to truth, to help us move from ignorance to wisdom, to help us move from animosity to love, to help us move from bondage to freedom. We rededicate ourselves before this light to affirm and practice truth, wisdom, love, and freedom today and in the days to come. Please join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. The hymn is a medley of number 169, Ancient Mother, and 1072, Evening Breeze, recorded by our choir. These hymns are found in our teal hymnal. The words and music are a traditional Navajo prayer, and the choir offers this with respect and in honor of Indigenous Peoples' Day. Please join in singing if you are at home. If you're in the building, please hum along or mouth the words.
Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother,
That was gorgeous. Thank you, choir. I'm so pleased to welcome our guest storyteller today, Greg Tertullian. Greg has a background, yes, wave, hi, hello. Greg has a background in film and acting and about 8 years experience working with youth both in and out of schools. He's led various improv and writing workshops, as he'll be doing with us today in our Faith Formation Hour. And he brings a love of storytelling that I hope you'll appreciate. And I want to thank Kristen Lems for introducing me to Greg. She's here today, and it's been just a joy to get to know you a little bit. So welcome, Greg.
Thank you. So happy to be here today. So I'm going to be talking about kind of my journey and my map, a little bits and pieces of it, kind of just focusing on the end of times. So for me, it started with that question that a lot of us have been asked. What do you want to be when you grow up? How many of us have been asked that question any time in our lives? So for me, the first time I was asked, I was in preschool. So I was around 3 or 4 years old. And at that age, a lot of us, our minds go ever. Our imagination's all over the place. I want to be Superman, or I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a pilot. I wanted to be a bus driver. Now at this time, there's me, loving the bus. I love the big wheel. I was fascinated with that big wheel. It was around the time where I first was introduced to buses. I started going on buses around 3 or 4. So it was a whole new experience to me. But also, I was also introduced to the Magic School Bus. So I wanted to, travel and shrink and grow like the Magic School Bus. So for a long time, the bus was on my mind, but going on into elementary school, it stuck with me, but I didn't really think about it much because the question didn't come again. Then middle school came around 6th grade. The question presented itself again. This time, I had no idea what I wanted to be. So I did some research, and I was like, I'm into video games right now. I'm going to be a game tester, because I get to get paid to play video games. Who else wouldn't want that, right? So months go by. Probably that dream lasted for like 7 to 8 months, when I started playing video games with my friends, and I came to see that I wasn't very good at video games. So time passes by, I have a little leeway. I'm like, okay, nobody's asking me the question. But then in the side of my ear, I hear friends talking about things they want to be or things their parents are. And I was like, okay, 8th grade is coming, the end of 8th grade is coming, freshman year is coming. I need to have something under my belt because I know this question is going to come again. So I put in my mind, what's a respectable job that most people would appreciate and like? I said, I'm going to put down businessman. No idea why. I just they wear suits, they have nice cars. Let's go with that. Sophomore year comes, and I participated in a program in Evanston called YOU. And after school program during the homework, one of the staff asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? This time I was prepared. All confident, all chest out. I was like, I'm going to be a businessman. Drop the mic. I wasn't prepared what was coming next. Oh, you want to be a businessman? Why? It's a respectable job and they make money. Confident again. I'm ready. He's like, okay, what else? What do you love about it? What do you know about it? Didn't know much about it. Didn't do much research. I thought it's like, as long as I had something, I wouldn't be asking anything else. They'd be like, oh, he knows where he's going. No, I wasn't prepared. So I was stuck for a little while. He watched me stay stuck, and then he was like, I see that you like telling stories. I was like, yeah, I like telling stories. It's just like a hobby. It's like a fun thing. And he's like, have you heard of screenwriting? What's screenwriting? What is that? He's like, come over here. We go on the computer. He's showing me different scripts. And I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. So this is how movies are made. I grew up watching movies, loving movies. I didn't know how they were made. I just thought they were put on the screen for me to watch. So he gives me a homework assignment that night. For the week, but I took it as that night. He said, go home, write 5 pages of a script. I go home, I write it. I come back the next day. I show it to him, and he's like, this is a lot more than 5 pages. It's like, yeah, I got carried away. And this is like that time at night, I had just finished homework. I was done writing, done looking at paper. I was like, I'm just going to relax, watch TV. But I got so invested in it that I actually started writing 25 plus pages. That's what I came back with. So from that point on, I continued with script, continued with acting. And deep down, I felt like I always knew I wanted to be involved in that. But it was just such a far dream that I didn't even think of it. So I never really took it to heart. So that is kind of like a big part of that little journey of that one question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And different places, I started from here, went this way, went that way. And it's kind of like all our maps and our journeys, it's not a linear line. It's very narrow. Sometimes there'll be stumbling blocks, there'll be things in the way. Sometimes you'll be at a standstill for a little bit, and that's okay. But a big part, too, is that point of the people around you. The people that impact you, the people that help you discover things about yourself that you don't even know. I don't know if he never told me about screenwriting or storytelling if I would have pursued acting, pursued screenwriting, pursued film. But that part of my life is a big impact of kind of where I went forward in my journey. So I want all of us to think about the people in our lives. How do they impact us? How have they helped us in our journey? The people who are still there, the people who have moved on. It happens. That's okay. But also think about how you impact the lives of those around you and how you help them with their journey. Thank you.
Each Sunday, we hold space for the joys and sorrows of those gathered here, honoring the struggles and the triumphs, the brokenness and wholeness that is woven into the human experience. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like spoken aloud, you can always write it in the Joys and Sorrows book, which now sits at the back table right by the door, or you can submit it through the Google form found on our website, or you can just send me an email. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared today. Kristen Lems writes, please convey your healing thoughts and prayers to her half-sister, Cassandra. She had advanced breast cancer, but after treatment went into complete remission for 18 months, and now there is cancer in her brain. Cassandra is an amazing woman, a triathlete and kidney donor who has built houses all over the world, excuse me, for Habitat for Humanity. She deserves many more years with her loving wife. Margaret Schatz, our Greenwood neighbors for many years have been Myra and Link Janice and their family. Link, 72, passed away on Wednesday after contracting West Nile virus, possibly from a mosquito bite while playing golf a couple of weeks ago. The virus quickly overwhelmed his system and its course became irreversible. Please hold the Janice family in your hearts following Link's sudden and very unexpected death. From Sandra Robinson, jazz legend and Evanston native Junior Mance will be honored today at 3 p.m. in our sanctuary. Junior performed in this sanctuary for a homecoming reunion on his 85th birthday. This will be an event celebrating his life and music, and a concert by his trio mates and protege will be performed in his memory. If you would like to attend this event today, you can contact Sandra Robinson. Liz Kennedy, our beloved Sexton writes, she shares that she is sick with an ear infection and then had a severe reaction to medication. Though they found no stroke or blockage or tumor, she's back home with the same symptoms and a referral to a neurologist. We hold Liz and Stephen in our hearts and in our prayers today. And Adam Goff's beloved cat Truffle got out yesterday and hasn't found her way home yet, which is heavy on Adam's heart today. Let's hold Truffle in our hearts and pray that she finds her way back to Adam and his loving family. And I'm just checking to see if there's any joys or sorrows added to the YouTube live stream. It looks like there aren't anything, but we know that these are not the only joys or sorrows or concerns that are on our hearts, that live within these walls and in the wide world beyond. This sacred space for our tender offerings is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and lessen the burden of our grief. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, source of creating, sustaining, and transforming love, we gather in this religious community seeking comfort and courage in challenging times. We name and lament the suffering that pervades our lives. May we resist the urge to close our hearts to the pain all around us and within us, and may we also resist despair. Be with us in our struggles, guide us to be a force for love in the world. Show us the possibilities that open when we remember our oneness. We pray that each of us knows that we are loved and each of us understands our purpose, that each of us experiences joy. We pray that all beings know their interconnection with the beautiful mystery of life. May we live with and embrace a greater love, a release of our fears. May we learn how to heal and not harm. Amen.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see the faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell her story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we are voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the Evanston North Shore NAACP, whose mission is to secure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights in order to eliminate race-based discrimination and ensure the health and well-being of all persons. If you're joining us from home or in the building, you may text to give by texting the dollar amount and the word offering to 312-584-9160, or mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering, pledge, capital campaign, or some other giving. If you are in the building, wherever you are, if you have money for the collection plate, please raise your hand, and an usher will walk by with a collection bowl or box. The ushers have pens and envelopes if you would like to identify your cash with your pledge or other giving. There are also envelopes by the Joys and Sorrows table for your use in the future. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Today's reading is an excerpt from Maya Angelou's poem, A Brave and Startling Truth. Maya Angelou was an American poet, memoirist, civil rights activist, and poet laureate. She wrote this poem in commemoration of the United Nations' 50th anniversary in 1995. We, this people, on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from fists of hostility and allow the pure air to cool our palms, we, this people on this small and drifting planet, whose hands can strike with such abandon that in a twinkling, life is sapped from the living. Yet these same hands can touch with such healing, irresistible tenderness that the haughty neck is happy to bow and the proud back is glad to bend. Out of such chaos, of such contradiction, we learn that we are neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people, on this wayward, floating body created on this earth, of this earth, have the power to fashion from this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possibility. We are the miraculous, the true wonder of this world. That is when, and only when, we come to it.
It's been a long road, and I've cried so many tears of happiness and sorrow. I'm so thankful you've been here to share in all the music life has brought at every bend. And I pray the footprints that we leave will guide another friend on this long road that has brought us here today, sharing memories, our hopes and dreams that lead us on our way. And I never in a million years thought I'd be standing here, looking forward to what lies ahead. I'm looking forward to what lies ahead as our journey continues. You are with me, I am with you, and together we move forward.
Kirby, you've been trying to get that clap going this whole time, and they finally did it. I have really loved looking out and seeing all of you, all of your faces, especially our young ones. It's so nice to have you in here with us. I do want to invite you at this time, if you would like, you are invited to go to faith formation activities. So nursery care is for 0 to 3s is in room 11 in the lower level. Preschool and kindergarten age will be in room 9 in the lower level, and grades 1 through 6 will be in 3. So you can follow Kathy, Miss Kathy, who's in the back, to help you find your way. And parents, if you want to accompany your kids, that's okay too. And if any kids want to stay in the service, you are also welcome. So lots of choices. So, by a show of hands, who here can recite our end statements? Anyone? No? No one? All right. Well, never fear. Here they are. Feel free to read along. In our multi-generational religious community, we cultivate spiritual awareness, joy, and wonder through words, music, the arts, and the natural world. We foster intellectual excitement, lifelong learning, truth-seeking, and respect for our traditions of reason and faith. We build beloved community through inclusive welcoming, compassion, care, generosity, and forgiveness. We create a supportive place to take risks and grow in service to others. We are a people of diverse beliefs, united in covenant. We develop relationships that open us to the lives of people in our congregation, our community, and our world. And we act for peace and for social, economic, and environmental justice through study, advocacy, and outreach. Don't feel bad if you didn't know the answers. We wrote these end statements about 6 years ago, but I don't think we've done a particularly great job of incorporating them into our congregational mindset or awareness. Nobody's fault, I just don't think we've done that really thoroughly. However, I do believe that we have been working towards these ends in the last 6 years. In fact, throughout the church year, I write reports on how we're doing on these ends, and I submit them to the board for their review and approval, and they agree that we are working towards these ends. Some people ask, including ministers, by the way, what the heck are ends, and why do we call them that? It's such a weird word in this context, but we don't often hear of the word end in a plural form. We usually talk about the end, as in the end of the story. But ends, as we're using it, is about the journey, and it refers to the ends towards which we are striving. These statements help us know where we're going. This language comes from policy-based governance under which our congregation operates. Policy governance is a way of structuring and clarifying the roles of the congregation in living out its purpose. Through this structure and clarity, the Board of Trustees and the staff understands what roles and responsibilities each hold as we strive to fulfill our mission. About 7 years ago, this congregation was transitioning to policy-based governance under the leadership of our then newly settled minister, Brett Lorty. As we developed our understanding of policy governance, we worked with Laura Park of Unity Consulting, which was developed by Unity Church Unitarian in St. Paul. She taught us that our ends express our mission in specific and actionable ways. There it is. And our mission is an expression of our core values. And our ends and our mission and our values fit into a metaphor of nested bowls that articulate our shared purpose. This all may seem like a bunch of corporate mumbo-jumbo, but it is true that we are here for a purpose. I mean, those of us who gather, present in the building or gathering online, and those of us who consider themselves a part of the Unitarian Church of Evanston in whatever way that takes shape. We come together in community for a reason. We're not just here to feel good and to see our friends. Those things do happen and they are important. We gather in religious community for a larger reason. And it is important for us to know that reason. I believe we are here to learn together and to practice what it means to be Unitarian Universalists building beloved community, and to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. This, our mission, is lofty, and it needs clear direction. Our end statements articulate what specific differences we want to make in the world and for whom. Whose spirits, specifically, are we wanting to nurture, and in what way? How exactly do we want to make the world whole? And what does a whole world look like? To answer these questions and plan together how to live the answers, it is important that we have intentional conversations about where we want to go together. As Greg was talking about, we impact one another. We have these conversations and we alight something within ourselves that we didn't know was there. It matters that we know the core values that we gather around, the mission and purpose of this congregation, and how we are specifically planning to fulfill that mission. Together, in community, we are going to reflect on our ends and renew them, essentially rewrite them, which should be done about every 5 years, so we're a little overdue. With so much new, with everything needing to be reimagined and adapted to, with this new shared ministry between you and I, now is the time to rewrite our ends. We won't finish today. We're just barely getting started on the journey. Hopefully you've read your newsletter. How many have read your newsletter? Okay, great. And seen the reflection prompts designed to get you thinking about our ends. No worry if you haven't. You'll get plenty of opportunity to see these questions. Here's the questions that I posed in the newsletter in the past couple of weeks. They're there. What is our most significant collective purpose as a congregation? How does UCE help you tell your story of what matters most? And reflect on an experience of the holy, a time you felt a deep sense of meaning, connection to all, or transcendence. For the next several months, you'll have an opportunity to join in a conversation where we'll reflect together on our shared purpose and where we are headed together. We'll talk about whose lives we want to transform and in what way. We will hear each other's stories, gather input, and incorporate this information into the larger story of who we want to be. Like every aspect of congregational life, this process will take time and intention. The process begins by identifying those core values we share among us and discerning these shared core values through an exercise called the experience of the holy. Again, this process comes through the handy little book called Nested Bowls from Unity Consulting. Now, the word holy may catch you off guard. Many of us as Unitarian Universalists come to our congregations with a bit of an aversion to some religious language. So if the word holy doesn't work for you, you might think about an experience where you felt a connection to ultimate reality, to something larger than yourself, to a deeper calling, or a moment of flow or joy. Maybe the word transcendent has resonance for you. Given a little time to ponder, most of us can recall moments like these that are sacred and holy. I've had many experiences that are holy in my life. Easiest to access are the moments of connection to the earth, to nature, to our animal kin, like the time when I was kayaking and I spotted a great blue heron, tall and still on a mound on the side of the river, and I stopped paddling and just watched it. I looked at it and it looked at me, and then it got bored with me and started cleaning its wings and preening itself, and I sat there in my kayak for about 30 minutes, communing with this heron, until it finally decided to lower its stance and drift off, spread its wings wide and drift across the river. It was a beautiful moment. Or the visit from Papa Oriole on Mother's Day when I was gardening. I'd been waiting about a month for him to show up at my feeder, and there he was on Mother's Day whistling at me, his little happy Mother's Day gift. Those are holy moments of joy, unexpected delight. Other experiences of the holy are significant turning points, moments when I have known with certainty that I am in the right place at the right time. Like the time I walked into Thurgood Marshall Middle School in 1995 to see if that's where I wanted to do my student teaching practicum, and I just knew unequivocally that I was in the right place. I can't explain it. I don't know why I felt that way, but I knew this is where I was supposed to be. And I did have a positive experience. I didn't teach for very long, but it is where I met my husband of 24 years. I felt that same sense of certainty when I heard about this church looking for a membership director. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that I was supposed to be that. For me, those moments of knowing I'm in the right place, when that debilitating self-doubt that usually plagues me just lifts. Those are holy moments. I know that I am where I need to be of use, to be a channel for the stream of love. I am out of my own way. I am guided without effort to do what needs to be done. Experiences of the holy aren't always happy moments either. Sometimes this certainty of knowing what to do and how to be happens in the most painful times. It's happened in hard times with my children, when they have been in the midst of painful internal struggle and I haven't known what to do or how to help. And then somehow clarity arrives and the right words come through, and I know that all I need to do is love them, and that is enough. Those moments, happy or sad, frightening or beautiful, when I know that I am in the right place to bear witness, to be of use, to be an instrument of peace and a channel for love, these are holy moments for me. The values that make these experiences holy are a clear sense of purpose, a trust in the wisdom that can flow through me when I need it most, a faith in guidance that comes from beyond me, from what I call the source of love. As we decide together how we want to move forward as a faith community, each of us can reflect on these experiences of the holy and how they help us identify our core values. Then, as we share these experiences, we can think together about what values are most important to us in the life of UCE. These reflections will help us envision the path before us and help us craft our ends. The Board of Trustees did this exercise, the experience of the holy, at the board retreat in August, and we've been so excited to share this process with all of you, to invite you into this journey. So I asked some of our leaders to model this experience, and they agreed to let me record their conversations so I could share part of the process with you. Joe Romeo, Shannon Lang, Allie Hunter, and Carla Williams each shared an experience of the holy in pairs, and then they talked about the qualities of those experiences that made them holy. And then the four of them talked about what values they agreed were the most important to pull into the life of UCE. So here's an excerpt of those much larger conversations. I hit the go. There it is.
Hello, I am Shannon Lang, and this is my experience of the holy. My oldest daughter, Marlo's birth is shrouded in my memory in pain and angst and fear. I was terrified. Marlo fought the contractions that my body were forcing upon her to make her entrance into this world. Her heart rate decelerated. A crash team needed to be called into my room to save her. It was like a scene out of a medical TV show. Bright lights, 15 doctors and nurses in the room, an emergency forceps delivery, the bated breath of all of us hoping she would be okay. And thankfully she was. And to this day, no one can tell that kid to do something she doesn't want to do. This was not my experience of the holy, but I learned from that experience and would not change a thing. My experience of the holy came with my second birth. I knew what to expect. I was prepared. I was calm. Francesca came into this world with just my husband, Bobby, myself, and my doctor and a nurse in the room. I was able to guide Francesca into the world with barely 2 pushes, and I was able to immediately put her on my chest. In that room, in that moment, there was only love and light and peace and hope and calm. I felt connected and thankful to all of my ancestors before me. I felt no worry, I felt no pain, I felt no angst, I felt no fear, only love. I felt connected to something bigger. I felt powerful. I also felt humbled by the power of what my body could do. I realize now that the difference between the 2 births could be the personality of my 2 amazing humans, but so much of it was who I was in those moments. With Marlo's birth, I was a first-time mom, my first pregnancy, my first childbirth. I had read all the books, I studied all the blogs, I had a birth plan, but as soon as all that pain came, it all went out the window, and I let the fear take over. Looking back, I think it affected her, and maybe it scared her, and she decided maybe she was going to just stay inside her happy aquatic home just a little longer. I think this is a lesson that we all can learn. Like, how does fear affect how we operate in the world and with ourselves and with others?
My name is Joe Romeo. I was in Sleeping Bear National Lakeshore with Linda, and she and I were hiking up Alligator Hill, and we had chosen to go up the what they said was the shorter, less steep walk. Well, it wasn't shorter, and we didn't exactly find it to be not steep. But when we got up to this view, there is a beautiful maple tree overlooking Good Harbor Bay, just the most beautiful view. And just as we started to walk toward where there was a bench, 2 eagles came out of the tree and flew off, having been scared by us. And it was just the most stunning thing to see. And I realized, as I thought about that, about what it was that made that so meaningful to me, I realized 10,000 years ago, that was 200 feet below ice. 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, Potawatomi were making a living, life for themselves, living on the water on Lake Michigan. My time is so insignificant, and at the same time so precious, so important to be able to see that, to see the waters that the Potawatomi were experiencing, and the same view 10,000 years ago. It's just a very stunning realization of the great fortune and my minor part in the universe. So I'll ask you, Shannon, what was there about those experiences that made them feel holy to you?
I think it was an overwhelming feeling of love, peace, calm, and joy in the latter. And then how I had let the fear just get in the way of not being able to fully enjoy that experience. Like I'm kind of like tying it into our anti-oppression work almost, and how much sometimes we're so kind of fearful of the work, or the work is hard, and how that like fear or the hard work of it can get in the way of what we need to do. But if we replace it with the love and the light, then I think we can get there. What about you?
For me to be aware of that instant in history, it made a difference too for me, because I had an effort. I had to walk up there.
Good things sometimes do take work. They're not easy. Also, kind of one of the values that we probably need to talk about is humility with each other, because that can be very, I think, hard for each of us to do.
I'm Carla Williams. I guess my experience of the holy involves an experience that I had during my time with doing the Beloved Conversations. I came to a realization about myself to embrace the idea of becoming an anti-racist.
Hi, I'm Allie Hunter, and a very powerful holy sensation for me has been a lover of water my whole life. I just need it. And when it rains, and that smell of the rain coming toward us, the smell of the soil afterward, it is so profound at such a cellular level. It makes me feel so rooted in the earth. It makes me feel just daffy that anything is possible. You know, it's just feels darn holy. And
the values we found most resonant in our conversations were
opening to possibility,
connection and connectedness to the whole,
honesty,
courage and humility.
The values we found most resonant in our conversation were
courage and humility to face our fears,
accountability,
acknowledging history,
appreciating beauty. The values we most want to pull into the life of UCE are
courage and humility,
honesty and accountability,
connectedness to the whole,
connectedness to the whole.
I'm not sure about that. Oop.
1, 2, 3. Connectedness to the whole. Geez, are we ever unconnected?
Nope.
1, 2, 3, go. Connectedness to the whole. Hey.
Why didn't you go, Joe?
I was waiting for you to go, Shannon.
These conversations were so rich and powerful and fun. This was about 3 hours of conversation that I had to distill down. So I'm so excited for you to be able to participate in conversations like this. We've set aside 6 one-hour sessions, some over Zoom and some in person, and these are for all ages. And you don't have to be a member of UC, friends, visitors, anyone who feels like they have a stake in where we're going as a congregation is invited to join us. Are those coming up? Hold on. Keep hitting the button and it's not quite going, but there they go. So you don't have to memorize these dates. They'll be in the newsletter, but if you want to kind of take a mental note real quick of when these are happening, check the newsletter for a link and sign up. You'll be invited in these experiences to share your experience of the holy, to reflect on the values that make those experiences holy, and to talk about what values we collectively want to pull into the life of our congregation. These conversations will help us together set the course for where we are going in the next 5 years, so it's important that we hear from all of you. We come together in religious community for a purpose. We, the Unitarian Church of Evanston, decided 6 years ago that we come together in our multi-generational community to cultivate spiritual awareness, to foster intellectual excitement, to build beloved community, develop relationships that open us, and to act for peace and justice. It is time now for us to decide if these are still the ends towards which we are striving, or are there new directions we want to move toward? Let us move forward, beloveds, together with purpose and clarity and faith in one another. Amen.
Sorry, I missed my cue. I'll never make it in Hollywood. Okay. As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying these words. Though the flame is extinguished, we carry with us the warmth of community, the light of truth, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need.
Thank you, Jen, for being our voice. Just a quick reminder, today's faith formation for all ages. You're invited to participate in one of these activities, a storytelling workshop with Greg in room 3, art in room 5 with Will and Jonna decorating face masks, or a drum circle right here with Alicia and Steve. Let us go with purpose, open to possibility, and transforming the power of love. Let us courageously co-create our future and mindfully plan where we are going together. Blessed be.